moving on. I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on till I reach the top somehow.
Yes, my Straight Talk family, it's that time when I bid you a very pleasant night, St. Kitts and Nevis, and wherever you are in the entire Caribbean region, I greet you, my Straight Talk family, and in particular those in the Kittitian and Nevision diaspora who are on the World Wide Web, and I know you are all over the world, so I am at liberty to say good night. I can say good morning, and I can also say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves, my Straight Dog family. And if you are joining me for the first time, I will inform you that Straight Talk is a public service program that facilitates and promotes free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, and or economic and or political issues, I should say. On Straight Talk, we provide that forum to express yourselves freely and in the process continue to keep St. Kitts and Nevis, my Straight Talk family, wherever you are. And we try to raise the level of national consciousness. We try to raise the level of national discourse by alerting our people to their rights, to their responsibilities, and certainly to their obligations. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And my Straight Dog family, tonight I considered it an imperative to speak with you on this forum. It's normally a Monday and a Thursday. I started somewhat early, and just to forewarn you, for those on radio, we may have to leave you via radio when that program actually starts. That program actually starts for the PLP rally. Nonetheless, tonight I had to speak to you as I found it, as I said, as imperative, as a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis, having been born on the Beirut in East Bastille. I was raised in East Bastille, and I still live in East Bastille. Newtown in the early days was called or referred to as Fish Bay, for those of you who may not know, as it was a fishing village and a place in East Bastille where you can still find your choice fish, conch, and or lobster. My grandfather, George Liburd, who hailed from Nevis, was the government shipwright, and back then built many fishing boats. Built many fishing boats as well as sailboats. And in fact, I learned that he built the fastest boat that was named Minx. At the tender age of 6 years, my grandfather died. My mother emigrated to Curacao, and I had the good fortune of being raised by my grandmother. And I say good fortune because my grandmother taught me from the tender age to cook, to wash, and to iron. My grandmother loved politics, and I remember having to take her bench to Warner Park to attend those Labour Party meetings, or where she attended meetings of Bradshaw Labour Party. She believed in Bradshaw and Labour with all her heart and soul, so much so that I remembered always enforcing the point. I remembered always enforcing the point that Bradshaw gave her shoes. I never liked that view, because I witnessed how hard my grandmother worked to make ends meet as a family. I myself had to shell and grind cocoa for the hot chocolate that she made. I also had to grind coconut and cassava for the sugar cakes and cassava bread she also made. Mama also find time to go to church, and where she was superintendent, in fact, of the Hope Chapel Methodist Church there on the Sunday school superintendent of the Hope Chapel Church there on George Street, and she was also the president, I think it was called, of the Women's Fellowship at the Wesley Methodists. Now, Mama loved her politics and would engage in politics all day, every day. It was Mama who told us that every black person in St. Kitts was Labour, except one black man called Happy Puppy. Back then we had one Labour Party, but on the eve of the most important election in our history, there are now two Labour parties. The Douglas Labour Party, led by Terence Drew, and the People's Labour Party, led by the indomitable, tried and tested Dr. Timothy Harris. PAM is of no moment, as the polls have suggested that there is a straight fight between what I call Orange Labour and Red Labour. My straight dog family, yes, it's a straight fight between Orange Labour and Red Labour. But PAM has become desperate, so desperate, and the Federation has concluded that even their former leader and PAM and former Prime Minister, and our only national or living national hero, Kennedy Alphonse Simmons, he has come across as an angry man, since most of his unreasonable demands on the public purse over the years were denied. My street dog family, the latest one denied by the cabinet I mentioned was in 2019. It was a demand from Kennedy Alphonse Simmons to be paid $15,000 per month, or the equivalent of a high court judge, whichever yielded the greater. So he is still angry. But how could you imagine, I should say, that Kennedy Alphonse Simmons, our living national hero, who gets a state pension, and mark you, he deserves that state pension, but now he demands to be paid a salary even higher than the Prime Minister and higher than the Governor General. And to that I say, hell no, to Kennedy Alphonse Simmons, who is behaving like a greedy vulture in a show of desperation. Simmons has begged those who left the sinking ship of PAM to come back home. Come back home is his cry to all those who have left the sinking ship of the People's Action Movement. Where have they gone is everybody's question, my street dog family. Where have they gone? And you know, my straight dog family, I've seen many commentaries coming from many luminaries here in St. Kitts and Nevis, since that cry, or since the living national hero has really debased that office. My straight dog family, one of the luminaries, or before I go to that, I should also say that the only living national hero has also cited tenets of good governance related to integrity and accountability in our government. My people, the issue of good governance is a concept which was developed by the World Bank, and it is essentially a touchstone, a criterion, a yardstick, a benchmark, I should say, by which the prevailing administrative structure of any given country can be measured. So how could Simmons talk about good governance yet ignore the impropriety of his PAM representatives? This is what High Court Judge Vento said about his handpicked successor Lindsey Grant and the current PAM chairman Jonel Powell. And this is a quote from paragraph 20 of the judgment dated 27 February 2020 in a case or in a claim between Tanzania Tobin Tanzil and Lindsey Fitzpatrick Grant and Jonel Powell. And the quote goes like this: there can be no question that there is a judgment of the court wherein the court accepted that the defendant's two partners, namely Mr. Lindsey Grant and Mr. Jonel Powell of Grant, Powell and Company, had misappropriated the sum of US $460,000 belonging to Tobin Tanzil. The court accepted that the defendants were also in breach of trust and of their fiduciary duties to the claimants. So we can conclude that Jonel Powell and Lindsey Grant are both, in 2 words, a disgrace. Why has PAM, or why PAM therefore has a chairman like that? In another jurisdiction, Jonel Powell and Lindsey Grant would have gone to jail and subsequently disbarred from practicing law, especially when one considers their serious transgression of the laws, misappropriation, breach of trust. And you ask yourselves, was any remorse shown by any of them? Did Jonel Powell ever beg his client for forgiveness? Did Lindsey Grant do the same? Did they tell their client they were sorry? Did Jonel Powell and Grant ever feel ashamed? Does Kennedy Alphonse Simmons think, therefore, that it is all right to also ask people to vote for a party with a chairman like Jonel Powell and a budding representative like Lindsey Grant? Now, on Wednesday the 10th June 2020, 5 days after the last general elections, the Court of Appeal, in a unanimous decision delivered by the learned Chief Justice, the Honorable Dame Janice Pereira, dismissed the attempt by Jonel Powell and Lindsey Grant to appeal. In paragraph 20, the learned Chief Justice ruled their delay in making the application was inordinate. No good explanation for the delay was preferred. Any prejudice they suffered was of their own making in their lax approach to obeying timelines or seemingly being uninterested in taking corrective actions, even when given notice. So I ask myself, I wonder if Simmons or anyone in PAM ever asked Jonel Powell and or Lindsey Grant to step down. Does PAM want a chairman like that? But it has said that birds of a feather flock together. But my Straight Talk family, the desperation of Kennedy Alphonse Simmons and his People's Action Movement Party, heightened on the eve of the 10th election since universal suffrage, or the common suffrage of the common man, which gave the right to vote to all adult citizens, regardless of their wealth, income, their gender, social status, race, ethnicity, political stance, or any other restriction. Who would believe that the same Lindsey Grant and Jonel Powell would get so desperate that they would serve papers on the supervisor of elections, Mr. Elwin Bailey, at 1 o'clock this morning to go to the court at 10 o'clock today? We are all aware that the supervisor of election is busy making sure that everybody in the 11 constituencies of St. Kitts Nevis knows where to vote tomorrow. He's busy doing that. We all know that, my Straight Talk family. But that does not matter for Lindsey Grant or Jonel Powell. It matters not. It matters not because they are all about themselves. Elwin Bailey has had to go to court today, even as he makes certain that the issues for tomorrow's elections are well on the front burner.
As you are aware, nomination day was Tuesday, 26th of July, 2022. Consequent to that day, the parties contesting the election are, in alphabetical order, the Concerned Citizens Movement, CCM, whose symbol is the hammer, the Moral Restoration Movement, MRM, a new party in Nevis which has been assigned the spade as a symbol, the Nevis Reformation Party, NRP, whose symbol is the bottle, the St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, SKNLP, whose symbol is the hand, the People's Action Movement, PAM, whose symbol is the hat, the People's Labour Party, PLP, whose symbol is the saw, the United Lamiguan Party, ULP, whose symbol is the tree, contesting constituency number 2 only, and independent candidate Carlton DuPont, whose symbol is the clock, and who will be contesting in St. Christopher 6 only.
My Straight Talk family, we ask the question, why has the People's Action Movement become so desperate? What frightened them? Someone asked me, what frightened them? Powell and Grant, we can report, failed miserably today in the attempt to have the election of tomorrow delayed and over 1,000 voters removed from the registered list. I can report that High Court judge has rejected, the High Court judge has rejected the application for injunction filed by Jonel Powell and Lindsey Grant, and there will be no delay to the elections tomorrow. I can also report that about 20 names, or 20 of the 1,000 names that were being asked to be removed will remain. All but 20, should I say that, all but 20 of the 1,000 names that Jonel Powell and Lindsey Grant sought to remove from the register will remain. Straight Talk will keep you posted as more on the story develops. And my Straight Talk family, as I said before, the Federation just a few days ago witnessed the indecency of the former leader of PAM and the former Prime Minister of St. Kitts Nevis, now also our only national leader, Kennedy Alphonse Simmons, who publicly debased the office of national hero. The disgraceful behavior of Kennedy Simmons, in my view, bordered on political thuggery, albeit in the form of lies, deceit, and deception. His unwarranted attack on Prime Minister Timothy Sylvester Harris, justified to all and sundry that the National Awards Committee should have waited until, God forbid, the demise of Kennedy Alphonse Simmons to determine whether he really is qualified to be called a national hero. My message to the Federation tonight is to stay focused and let your vote be counted. Because, my Straight Talk family, there's global uncertainty. And as I said before, there are many who have made their voices heard in some form or other. Many luminaries from St. Kitts and Nevis. The last one that came to mind or came to my attention was E. Anthony Tony Ross, QC, who wrote this, and I quote, "Within the next 24 hours maximum, the voters in St. Kitts and Nevis will have made their statements. Within the last 4 days, our only living national hero, Dr. the Honorable Kennedy Alphonse Simmons, has attempted to discredit and vilify the current Prime Minister, Dr. the Honorable Timothy Sylvester Harris. His was caustic and personal, but will not be addressed item by item because this upcoming election is not about him. He has one vote and the freedom to do what he will with that vote. Within the last 3 days, one of our local and well-recognized scholars and recipient of the Companion of the Star of Merit by his beloved country, Dr. Eustace Esdale, posted his views and at one time stating that he was not telling you which of the other political parties to vote for in St. Kitts and Nevis, but was asking you to vote against Dr. Harris and his cabal. Unlike that of Dr. Simmons, more neutral language might have gained more traction. He also has one vote and the freedom to do what he will with it. Sankofa is a word in the Twi language of Ghana, meaning to retrieve, and also refers to the Bono Adinkra symbol, represented either with a stylized heart shape or by a bird with its head turned backwards, with its feet faced forward, carrying a precious egg in its mouth. Sankofa is often associated with the proverb, "Siwo were fi nawo Sankofa ayenki," which translates as, "It is wrong to go back for that which you have forgotten." I emphasize that last sentence. It is not wrong to go back for that which you have forgotten. Both Dr. Simmons and Dr. Esdale reference the last 7 years, which is undoubtedly a good starting point. The facts are that from adult suffrage until his death, and not peculiar to St. Kitts and Nevis and for a time Anguilla, it was not party politics that ruled the day, but leadership politics. When the Right Honorable Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw, our first Premier, faced dissension in his ranks on 2 occasions, he removed the offending individuals, and he and his elected supporters continued, and those dissenters have fell away. My straight talk family, as the program continues, I would take excerpts from this little thesis, short thesis, from E. Anthony Ross. But for now, I want us to, let us focus tomorrow and let your vote be counted. I want to let your vote be counted because there is global uncertainty, my straight dog family, and we have to face such global uncertainty with precision.
This election is being held at a time with the world on the verge of a global recession. Your job, your income, your very way of life is on the voting paper. How you vote will determine if you and your family will have a secure future or if you go backwards.
Yes, my straight dog family, there's global uncertainty, especially with the war that's still raging in Ukraine. The costs of fuel, even right here in St. Kitts and Nevis. I went to the pump on Friday, and the cost of gasoline was almost $20 per gallon. Imagine that. So we need to ensure that we have a government come the 6th of August that would take care of all of us. A government who all of us can trust, my Straight Talk family. We need to have a government who we can trust.
Who do you trust to protect the people? Who do you manage our economy? Who do you trust to deliver a secure future for you? Who do you trust to protect the people? Who do you trust to create jobs? Who do you trust to grow and manage our economy? Who do you trust to deliver a secure future for you?
And that's a pertinent question we must ask ourselves as we enter the polling stations tomorrow. I submit that there's one man who we can trust and one party we can trust. The party that he leads. Timothy Sylvester Harris has himself before put his career on the line.
Many of us were very concerned when Labour walked away from the people and gave their lands away in the notorious land for debt swap deal. I stood up against this in Parliament and placed my political career on the line in order to protect and defend our people's right to their patrimony. Today, our lands have been bought back from the land for debt swap arrangement and are now in the hands of the people.
Yes, those hands or those lands are now back in the hands of the people. There were 1,200 acres of land swapped for debt by the then Douglas Labour Party. Under Timothy Harris, some 800 acres of those lands have been retrieved by the government. So who do you trust? You've tried those parties and they have failed us. Do you still want to trust them? The same old, same old? No. We cannot trust those parties, my Straight Talk family. We just cannot.
This election, there is no need to be. The old politics, the old parties have had their chance. They let us down. They walked away from you. You are not leaving them. They already left you. They failed you, and they will fail you again. They will send you backwards. But your PLP team has kept faith with you. We want to keep delivering for you.
And the PLP team is the only team that has presented a contract that they are already executing. So who do you trust? You cannot trust the old parties, my Straight Talk family. PLP has signed that contract with the people.
Only the People's Labour Party has signed the contract to deliver for the people. Our contract enshrines reducing VAT before eliminating it, providing a livable wage of $3,000, increasing PAP by 100% to $1,000 per month, increasing child support, establishing a university fund for every child born in St. Kitts and Nevis, and constructing some 2,000 homes with a priority for our young people. We will deliver on our contract with you because we can manage the economy.
Yes, the PLP has been tried and tested, and the PLP deserve a chance.
To those people wavering, I ask you, please give us a chance. Lend us your vote for this critical occasion. Let us show you what a PLP government can deliver for you. Give us the chance to show you what a secure future can be like for you and your family. Lend us your vote on this one occasion. Send us to work for you. This once, choose PLP. Choose a secure future for yourself and your family.
And yes, my Straight Dog family, we must reflect. The best time ever in our political history was between 2015 and 2020. I was there and I was part of it. Our infrastructure development is unprecedented. We built roads. The Island Main Road was built at a cost of some $69 million. We built a brand new cruise pier at a cost of $44 million US. We reconfigured and built resilience across Old Road Bay at a cost of some $35 million. We built houses. We built bus terminals, my Straight Dog family. We built bus terminals. And it was a time that we must remember in our history. But what happened, my Straight Dog family? After that mandate given in 2015 by the people, and the resounding mandate in 2020 with an increased representation in government, Mark Brantley and Sean Richards mashed up the government, and Kennedy Alphonse Simmons supported that. Do you remember this, my Straight Dog family?
We have taken the unprecedented step for a response from the Prime Minister. We shall therefore know by Wednesday whether we can achieve resolution or whether we face dissolution.
The deadline that was given to the Prime Minister, Dr. Timothy Harris, has come and gone. It was a deadline established for midnight, 20th April 2022.
I am calling on all PAM people, old and young, to mobilize in defense of our party and our country. I am calling on all PAM to come back home.
Yes, my Straight Dog family. As I said, they mashed it up, and Simmons supported it. Kennedy Alphonse Simmons supported it.
If Sean had not moved when he did, in 3 years' time, there would have been no PAM. Sean had to move to save the country and to save his party.
But my Straight Dog family, like it or not, tomorrow we go to the polls to elect a St. Kitts government. NRP and CCM have released manifestos for Nevis. PAM, Douglas Labour and PLP have released manifestos for St. Kitts. Our budgets are for St. Kitts and Nevis respectively. And this we were reminded of some almost 30 years ago. Remember when Vance Amory had this to say.
Nevis Premier Vance Amory tells Connor Radio the CCM made this position clear to the leaders of both the People's Action Movement and the St. Kitts Labour Party when they sought the CCM's support for a formation of a coalition government.
Nevis has a local government which looks after Nevis affairs. in every aspect except for foreign affairs. St. Kitts does not have the same government. It means that the federal government, in effect, is the St. Kitts, or the government of St. Kitts. And the Prime Minister said this clearly. The opposition leader said that clearly. He said, listen, our position in this election is to present the position for St. Kitts. Our manifestos deal with the development of St. Kitts. And they were not, the federation system, the involvement of Nevis only came into effect when the numbers turned up the way they turned up. And I think we have to recognize that. And I think we're looking at numbers, but we're not looking at a system which has a local government in Nevis, none in St. Kitts, and where the federal government acts in effect as the St. Kitts local government. And I think we must not let that down. I think if we can accept that, then all the discussion, all of the questions would then have to cease at that.
Yes, the federal government, according to the late Vance Amory, and he's so correct, acts as the St. Kitts government. Brantley himself confessed that a few days ago that perhaps St. Kitts needs its own government as well.
Constitutional reform is critical. We have to consider whether it is time now for St. Kitts to have a St. Kitts Island administration, just as Nevis has a Nevis Island administration.
Well, while we consider that, my Straight Dog family, I beg you, I beseech you, let your votes be counted tomorrow so that we can ensure stability come Saturday, the 6th of August, that special day, when we say stability at last, get rid of those who are hungry for power and those who are so corrupt, like Sean Richards, and aided and abetted by Mark Brantley. We cannot think of those who have no track record, but we must say to ourselves, my Straight Dog family, that we want to ensure that there is stability. And the vote will be counted if you give PLP all 8.
Our nation remains peaceful and stable. Achieved with 5 years of a People's Labour Party government. But I need your mandate and your support to keep delivering for you. I need all 8 seats, so we have a stable government dedicated to delivering for you, the people.
Yes, my Straight Dog family. Tomorrow, let your votes be counted. Each of us must make our vote be counted and bring stability to this country by providing all 8 to PLP. That's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. I'll go to the lines, my Straight Dog family. I'll entertain your calls and your emails, my Straight Dog family. But I want to say to you, in so doing, I want us to ensure that we respect others. And of course, to achieve that, we must first respect ourselves. Let us be fair to all concerned. Let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. Let us ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. Remember, the numbers are 663-6672 and or 646-829-6672. My Straight Dog family, the lines are open. Let your vote be counted. Tell me that you will vote for PLP if you want stability in this country. My people, your vote means that you will ensure that PAC continues. Vote for PLP, you would ensure an increase in your allowances. My Straight Dog family, be sure to make certain that your vote is counted. There are so many articles, as I said. I'll continue to read these missives, and I did in fact do so. But let me go to the lines and say, caller, you are live. Hello, caller.
Good evening, Dr. Ian Patrick Liburd. Thank you very much for giving us a program that we can vent tonight. And good evening to the people in the diaspora and those who are here on the ground. I would like all of you to attend a rally at Greenlands tonight. The People's Labour Party, led by Dr. Timothy Harris, the best Prime Minister in the Caribbean or the world. Go up there and you all will hear all the facts and truth towards no comparison to what goes on the other side spreading the propaganda. People like Dr. Simmons, all the years he retired from politics, he never come on the radio yet and encourage his party to look for the people them because it's the people who voted and put them into power. He never do that. He said that he's finished with politics and that was time for him to rest up. But because he didn't get his $15,000 a month for pension, that took up his ants nest. And he come back on the radio now. Instead of he talk to the people in Palm and tell them, brother, Palm is dead because of how you all treat the people. And you all should go out and encourage everybody to come back to Palm. Instead of that, he go and put ignorance in the leader of PAM, which is Sean Richard's head. And Sean take on ignorance after serving 7 years, steadily learning under the greatest leader of this country, which is Dr. Timothy Harris. And listen to Simmons come telling him about hell unity. Now see where they are. And now Simmons come talking about people come back home. Dr. Simmons should be stripped of his national hero status. Because instead of he come on and tell the people that PLP under the unity under Dr. Harris has moved the country to somewhere of interest that everybody jealous this country and want to know how Dr. Harris do. He get on the radio personally attacking Dr. Harris, personally bringing down Dr. Harris. Shame on you, Dr. Simmons. Shame on you. Patches, this program is short, so I wouldn't take much time. Let Dr. Simmons talk about what Pam went to do to the gas tank up Newtown. Anyhow, did they get you with that? The whole of Boston will abandon. And it's Dr. Harris why he get his pension and all his folks. Thank you, Patrick. If you have more time, I'll get back.
Thank you, my dear brother. And in addition to what you said, I can also say that his comments were laced with lies. And I also saw an article from one Lorna Calendar, which is very interesting as well. It is captioned, "It is how you make the voters feel." And she started with a quote from Maya Angelou, which reads like this: "I have learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel." And Timothy Harris is so well liked because people will never forget how he made them feel. And come September the 1st, his intention from all reports, all that has been reported, that the PAP will be increased by 100% to $1,000. But this article continues, and I quote, "Many who are just thinking of power and money forget the influencing power of emotions. They fail to see the tears of the sugar workers as they confess that they had never ever held so much money before. Let us go to the lines. Caller, you are live. Hello.
Good night, Mr. Patch. It's a pleasant Thursday night to you. How are you?
I am peaceful. Yourself?
I'm fine, thank you. Mr. Patches, I have listened, I have heard, I have been annoyed, I've been upset, and now I'm calming down. I'm really happy that you got an opportunity to do this program this evening. I know you have to switch in a few minutes to go over, so I'll try my best to get everything in. I listened to the first Prime Minister thinking. I listened to everything that he had to say. I listened to all his comments, I listened to all his allegations, I listened to everything. But most importantly, I listened to him repeatedly saying that he had to break his silence. That is when Dr. Kennedy Simmons is going to say that he had to break his silence. The silence that he had to break before coming on here and talking all the rubbish that is constantly running on the ear for people to listen to, which doesn't make absolutely no sense at all. He should have first broke his silence and apologized to the people of St. Kitts, not the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, but to the people of St. Kitts. I don't know who don't remember the 10th of June 1967, but I remembered it because I was just a child. I clearly remembered it. He committed treason to the country of St. Kitts because he climb up, he plug up, he communicate, and whatever he do, he club up with the first people from Anguilla. And he decided to bring them into St. Kitts to overthrow the government of St. Kitts because he wanted to be in power along with the PAM party, and he couldn't get it happen. So the best thing to do is overthrow the government. Now, he ain't got on Church Street, like how Dr. Denzel Douglas has said, don't send your children them school, let them bring their bottle and their pan and their stick and down Church Street to get them out of the parliament. I mean, sorry, the house. But he decided to overthrow the government in a way where he would kill hundreds of people, innocent people. On the 10th of June, everybody went about doing their thing, their daily shows and doing their work peaceful. Nobody had no idea what was about to take place that night. Not one of us had an idea what was to be take place that night. Until when everybody settled down to sleep and all was well and you say, our Father prays and you ask the good Lord to protect you throughout the night. And then all hell break loose. Why? Because Dr. Kennedy Simmons and the PAM government wanted to overthrow the government of St. Kitts. When Kennedy said that he break his silence, he need to break his silence and apologize to the people of St. Kitts for what he did on the 10th of June, 1967. There were two main targets on the island of St. Kitts to take out. Shell gas station up in Newtown, where the wind blows from the east. The power plant, where electricity holds. And the defense force, where army men were. There were the three major points to take out. My brother was playing in a Willie Richard Combat. They were down on the Beffon playing in the place they call Green Corner. And when they tear gas the whole of Bastille, they had nowhere to go. When they come downstairs and they come out, somebody stop them and tell them, no, go up there, because up there what? That means don't go east, because east was run along the best show up. And see if all could get to himself home or get to some kind of rest. When Kennedy gonna come on the air talking about he break his silence. He needs to break his silence and apologize to the people for what he did to the country the 10th of June 1967. That's what he needs to do. Don't come on the ear telling me about Dr. Harris did and what Harris didn't do and what Harris this and Harris that. Dr. Denzel Douglas made Alphonse Kennedy Simmons pound the pavement day after day with a placard in his hand protesting for his pension. Now, Mr. Scatches, he did not ask for something that wasn't belong to him, you know? His pension was duly due to him, and Dr. Denzel Douglas refused to give him his pension. He made him protest to get his pension, and even though he did all that, he still did not get his pension. When the Honorable Timothy Harris got in there, that's when his life began to get smooth. And then you're going to come on the radio and talk about you quoting Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and you're talking about integrity, and he's talking about respect, and he's talking about discipline, and he's talking about Sean Richards is the best man for this and the best man for that. Let me ask a good question. If Sean Richards was such a man of who has common sense and who has understanding of the rules and regulations of the state for St. Kitts, when they sat down and they wrote a letter to the Governor General, it ain't a legend now. It's not alleged. The Governor General sent back an answer to them and say, I received your correspondence, but there is no date on it. So how you got all the brains? Or you lawyer, they say how he went to all kind of university and he's an educated man and all kind of thing, and you sat down and write a letter to the Governor General of all people, and you don't got the date on top of it? But you want to come and try to say people call the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister, all kind of names and allege all kind of things. Lindsey Grant and John L. Powell should be ashamed of themselves. They get into Parliament again after so many years because of Timothy Harris, who want to believe it or not. Nobody wanted nothing to do with Lindsey Grant and John L. Powell and them, because there was nasty-minded people. Not alleged, you know, the information tonight. It's not alleged that they stole the people, the man money. It is a fact that they thieved the people their money. So you went into the government, in House of Parliament, sat down in a seat that you never thought you would get into, with a nasty slate on your name. And there were rules and regulations. And because they can't get to do what they want, because they can't get to turn the Prime Minister how they want, because they want to do what they want and get away with it, they all get mad and upset. So now Sean going on with appropriation saying that, oh, he's the next Prime Minister, I think it. Sean, please, give yourself a break. You're the next Prime Minister, I think it, and you'll never be the next Prime Minister, I think it.
Carlo, before you go, right?
Yes.
You've been rather caustic, and I try not to interrupt you.
Yes.
But I agree with you that the Federation a few days ago witnessed the indecency of Kennedy Alphonse Simmons, who really debased the office of national hero. His behavior was disgraceful. And it bordered on what I said before, political thuggery, albeit in the form of lies, deceit, and deception. His attack on Timothy Harris was unwarranted. And, you know, it was so false. And that's why I said before, I think sometimes we ask ourselves, and we say that we should give people their flowers while they're living, but you understand why awards like the one he has are given when people die. But I'm somewhat cautious because my brother as well played in that band with Richard's Combo.
Richard's Combo, yes.
Right? And they were playing at Green Corner. I remember.
Yes.
When I'll take that back. They were playing at Sugar Factory, SSMC.
Okay.
I think it was. But anyway, I am somewhat cautious though to apportion all the blame to Dr. Simmons because
no, but he was in the PAM party, so that was it.
Also, then if you say the PAM party is something different,
yes.
Okay, right?
Yes.
Then he absconded.
My apology for that.
Okay,
and a member of the it was the PAM party.
Yes,
and I quite agree with you.
He disappeared. He disappeared, and he absconded right some time ago. But you're right. But there's no closure to that 1967 issue, and that what you call it, the fuel depot. It was at Shell at the time would have perhaps decimated all of us in Newtown and beyond.
But of course it would.
Yes.
The wind blows from the east, that is.
Yes.
This is gasoline we're speaking about. When you like how much the gasoline, see what it does? It takes off.
I also was a little cautious, but I understand, you know, because misappropriation really by Grant and John L. Powell, and I think the judge spoke as well to breach of trust, you know. And I asked a lawyer one time if misappropriation is stealing, and he told me yes. So, you know, but thanks for your input nonetheless.
You know, I am giving you a chance to redeem yourself. I'm giving you a chance to come back to the people and make something of yourself. But you all want to continue to do your disrespectful. You all want to continue to be insubordinate, and I'm supposed to just sit back as the Prime Minister and let you go ahead.
Sure.
And now today you want to sit on a platform and tell me that you is the better man to run the country of St. Kitts and Nevis. Really?
Yes, my dear.
For 3 months you refuse to go into meetings. And are you supposed to put you back inside here so when you get vexed, don't go back again?
Well
Come
said.
on.
Well said,
that is no.
Well said, my dear.
That is no, it's not fair. But you're right. The PAM government, he was a member, part of the PAM government
PAM party.
He was a part of the PAM. Sorry, he was a member of the PAM party then when that happened. So when he's speaking about breaking his silence, he needs to break his silence and apologize to the people, especially the people of the South St. Kitts, and tell them, you know, it's 50 odd years now since this incident took place, and I was a part of it. And I humbly apologize to you all for taking so many persons through that, because I was a child. He had pregnant women then.
Yes.
And a lot of people remember it. I don't know how much some people seem to be forgetting. Somehow there's a lot of people in St. Kitts all of a sudden they're missing a century or they're missing a decade and they pretend like they don't know. Yes. I ain't about that, I mean about this. Wake up. Wake up, Mr. Patches.
Thank you, my
dear. They need to get themselves on. Nobody has found a classroom as yet. By midnight, then you're never going to find it again, because you're supposed to know by now who you want to take you into the future, who you want for your children and your children's future. What do you really want? That's the question. Mr. Patrick, have a pleasant evening. You stay safe, take care of you, and tomorrow we will definitely see how the bells of St. Kitts shall shine.
Thank you very much, my dear. Take care of yourself as well. Thanks for your intervention and very assertive. I want to say thank you. And I go straight back to the lines. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller.
Yes, good night, Mr. Liburd.
Good night, sir.
And how about you, sir?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
Well, the Lord is going to bless the Honorable Dr. Timothy Harris and his government party, his candidates, for them to be walking down in Church Street. No matter how some of the people outside are talking ill about Dr. Timothy Harris, some of them should be ashamed. But anyhow, the lady who spoke before me, gave 100% of what she said. And she is right. And I asked her the other night, what happened to the NGO and all those people who bring a declaration talking about code of conduct from the politician? What happened to Kennedy Simmons? They should ask him to apologize to the people in the Federation for the way that he went on a national radio station. It was not nice. Everybody had respect him for the things that he has done to help people in this Federation. And this is the thanks he giving the people in the Federation about the present Prime Minister, Dr. Timothy Harris. And it is who put Dr. Timothy Harris to run as the Prime Minister of the Unity Concept government. Dr. Timothy Harris was not involved in the Basel, the grammar school. It was not. It was Dwight Atkinson, Dr. Simmons, and most all the PAN activists was involved of the grammar school. That's why it was a closure. And they want to blame him for abandoning the grammar school, and it was the PAN activists that is who made people to march about the school having this and the school having this and that, just to get Dr. Douglas out of office. It's a shame and born shame. So some people who come back on the radio and speak good about Sir Kennedy Simmons. It's good to speak about him, but when he went on the radio station, he inside, he put his foot in his mouth, and he was speaking as though that he was the first Prime Minister. What happened to the OECS treaty that he signed in Church Street? He was our first Prime Minister, and he signed a treaty that people could come from different countries and live here. It was a thing of movement of the Caribbean people. And the SPSME, all them things come from Simmons. He was the one who put that in place, that the people could move around. He also bringing the people in plain loads just to get in office. When Sir Robert Liburd Bratcher had people here could have put in a government for the people here. But instead of that, bringing a thing, that's why we are having people coming in and giving us a government that we not deserve and going back the next day.
Okay.
It is not right. Okay. Well, they get in office, let them go and pass that it will be stopped. Money is wasting, for people to come and give us a government that we not deserve.
Okay, my brother.
We move on.
Okay,
Have a good night, Mr.
Have a good night as well, and I thank you for your input, intervention, and my Street Dog family. I want to as well further clarify. I want to further clarify that. I want to further clarify again that a misappropriation of the Tanzil monies refers to stealing of that other man's assets. Well, let's go to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you are live. Hello, caller. Hello there. Hello, caller.
Greetings in the name of our great African ancestors, especially the most honorable Marcus Messiah Garvey and Queen and Zenga. Blessed evening, my beloved African brother. How are you? How the family?
Peaceful, my dear brother. You and your family? Good to hear you.
Good, man. All is well, beloved. All is well, man. All is well. No, beloved, tomorrow is the day. And we should focus on that, man. Stop all of these things, these two elitist idiots. And that's what they are. And I don't take back that. When I say something, I just don't shoot off my mouth like that. But I think things over, beloved. And I've been telling my Palm friends, my Palm sister and brethren for at least 3 years. I say, you see those two elitist boys? They're going to destroy Palm. I told them so. And she says, so done, beloved. These two guys, man, they're just despicable individuals. But enough for them, beloved. But who I'm very surprised at, beloved. A man, a brother, he's like a father to me. Dr. Simmons, man. A man who made a name for himself. Come from humble beginnings. I don't know how Dr. Simmons could get himself mixed up in this foolishness. And Doc, you still have time. After election, you should come to the nation and apologize for them foolishness that you say, my beloved brother. Because when you get yourself mixed up, you don't make your mark. To think it's a Nevis good. You're a legend. You're going to get all of this go down the drain just for foolishness, my beloved elder. It just ache my heart, man, to see Dr. Simmons. At this age in his life, after all the great things he had done as a humble man and now a national hero, but that's why you see the double-edged sword, to think someone who is living will become a national hero. And that must be revisited. That national hero status is supposed to bestow on those who make this transition. That's my opinion. But let me move on. Dr. Simmons, come to the nation and apologize, my beloved elder, and let your great legacy continue. And enough of that. No, beloved brother, what we must focus on is tomorrow is the election day. The day that we should vote for this great things for the past 7 years to continue under the great leadership of Dr. Harris. And Dr. Harris not done yet, beloved brother. He's not done yet, but he needs the people votes, beloved, to continue on this great journey. And I'm calling, I'm begging, I'm pleading, and my beloved sisters and brothers, vote for the PLP and the NRP up in Nevis, especially the PLP in St. Kitts. For all of the candidates, let's have a resounding victory, overwhelming support for Dr. Harris, man, and all those young brothers and sisters, visionary people, candidates, beloved. Sister Jackie Boyer, and the whole girl, all of them, Sister Keelan, Mark over there, and in closing, beloved brother, let me sake. Just give me 30 seconds, my beloved brothers and sisters and brothers over there, the Pan-African Republic of Cape. You have another chance to redeem yourself from the scourge of that boy from St. Paul's party. Now is the time. Give Mark the votes he deserves. Give the PLP the votes that they deserve over there in number 6, and let us liberate ourselves over in number 6 once and for all. My beloved brother, stay tuned and let us be victorious on Saturday morning, my beloved brother. Thanks again for hearing me. Keep up the great works. Pan-Africanism our first. One love, my beloved brother.
One love, my dear brother. And just to let you know that there's lots of things going on, lots of rumors spreading. There's action down by the electoral office, but let's not lose focus that tomorrow is the day to cast your vote, and let your vote be counted. Make sure that we bring stability to this country, and one way to ensure that we bring stability to this country is to give the PLP and Prime Minister Harris a resounding mandate. Let's go to the lines, caller. Thank you for holding. You are live. Hello, caller.
Good night to Ian Patches Liburd. Good night.
My dear brother, thank you for holding. Good night, Mr. Politics.
Yeah, this is the one and only Mr. Politics. Patches, first, I want to thank God. Thank God for life. Thank God for the Federation of Nevis, a country we are born into and living up to now, and doing well under any administration. Patches. Patches, I want to just, that caller, that female caller, she's a mouthful. She's a real mouthful, Patches. And she's so right. I'm going to have a good night. You're a strong PLP, and I proud of you for that. Because this is what the country needs, something new. Put away the traditional life of politics, the traditional life, a party. We had enough of that. Labour fail us, Labour fail us. And it's time to move on. And we got to move on with PLP, with Dr. Harris as him. Patches, we say that he doesn't be here forever. Some other young person like Akila or some other person on take over. Now look at the NRP. The NRP come with mostly all female and then more from the old traditional politics and bringing young people, young heads. And I'm supportive of that. And I hope the people of Nevis take heed and do what they got to do. Because anybody who always wants to depend on somebody or something as a leader, and you don't want to go out there and try to uplift your country, you know, yes. You got to go out in the diaspora, go out there and look, you shape. You cannot depend on the federal government for everything.
Handouts, yeah.
But we was there carrying it. And we was there carrying it. It depends on the federal government for everything. And that's yourself. So that is, I just can't even the people too. My people of this country, especially our young men and women, who lose a loved one, and them young mothers, grandmothers, and lose the grandson and all those, to open up their eye and don't go back to that regime they called the Thinking Labour Party. They have no use for them. They have no love for them. They have no care for them. They just want them in election to parade. I see a lot of young people run down behind them and say Labour go win and come in and celebrating and going on like they don't win. Now Dr. Harris says, clean up this country. Clean up the mess. Clean up the mess with the left here. With all these young men coming and shooting one another. We don't know what caused it. Nobody know what caused it. They were shooting on one another. That's how it get in 2015. Get Brother Nichal and other the man from Jamaica, Mr. calling him now.
Saunders, Major Saunders.
Major Sanders, and get other people from the federation to uplift yourself and bring these young men together and have a meeting with them. And these young men listen, bring in their weapon. And this country is going so good. Patrice was yesterday, I was in McNight talking to some young man. Right? And they was there listening to me. Some of them going contrary to what I say, but they listen to me still. I say, no, it's the country be. I say, you go walk down Irish Town, you go walk down McNight, you go walk up Market Street, you go walk the district of Blessing Town. You remember just a few years ago, I couldn't have it. When I walk out, I got to look back. I look back to see you come. Listen, young man, let me tell you something. Dr. Harris is a God-sent man. Me not say prophet. Me not say Dr. Harris prophet. But he's a God-sent man to deliver the crime and all of the thing of the country. And brother, when I go, I have no other choice to vote whatever constituency I live into. I will vote for PLP candidate. Because this is the only solution for the country. To pick a PLP government there. Put young men and women like you. And they're saying about me, Dr. Simmons come about young, any one of them elect in government. If they could go anywhere and talk as a foreign minister and all and kind of ignorance. What about Jacqueline Boyan? Jacqueline Boyan is a young education, young media person. She went to the study media. She got a profession in that. She interviewed the Prime Minister and interviewed all kind of people. So I don't know the problem. Dr. Simmons, you don't reach a peak. Go and sit down and Sean Richard not going to be the Prime Minister because he don't have respect for people. He ain't got no respect for you. Who supporters them? People like me. People like me who put him there. And how is it from? He ain't got no respect for supporters them. Have no respect for them. So I do not believe that Sean Richard, the people are going to elect to be the Prime Minister. I have nothing against them. I got a one who surrounding them. That's why you see that I'm the PLP team now. What is our wonderful let me God the federation. Think it Nevis and people you are go out and do the right thing.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. Yes, do the right thing according to that caller. Let your vote be counted. Pam failed us. I agree with you. Labour did as well. And as you said, it's nothing personal against the PAM supporters. But the leadership of Sean Richards is bad. For them to condone the actions of Lindsey Grant and Jonel Powell is atrocious. Misappropriation, breach of trust, they should be in prison. God forbid, they should be in prison. The time for PLP is now. I agree with you. You mentioned that Mark Brantley depends on St. Kitts for everything. And you're so right. When you put that into context, you are perfectly right. Imagine Mark Brantley goes and he hires all these public servants. St. Kitts Nevis or St. Kitts has no input into that. He gets $5 million. His wage bill for the civil service is $9 million, almost the same as St. Kitts. Imagine that. $9 million for his monthly wage bill. And he expects that the federal government, St. Kitts, because the federal government, and elections to elect the federal government is an election to elect a St. Kitts government. The manifestos being presented by all the parties on St. Kitts says absolutely nothing about St. Kitts. So too, in Nevis, the NRP manifesto or the CCM manifesto says nothing about St. Kitts. So let us understand. Let us agree that we need constitutional reform. And I suggest we give the Prime Minister Harris his requests for all 8 seats and ensure, make it an imperative for him to go to the Parliament and to amend the constitutional or provide the constitutional reforms, whether it's term limits for Prime Minister, whether it's a fixed date for national elections, but we have to amend that constitution And we can only amend the Constitution if we get that 2/3 majority in that parliament. And we had it. The last Team Unity administration had more than 2/3 majority. If Mark Bantley and Sean Richards were ever serious about constitutional reform, then instead of mashing up the government, they should have gone to parliament. Gone to the parliament and ensure that the Constitution is as we have it. They could have ensured the fair share for Nevis. Yes, the Constitution at section 110 speaks to the allocation of funds. So why couldn't they go to the parliament, amend the Constitution and put it right in the highest law in the land, the Constitution? They're not serious. They are convenient. They are expedient. They do things for expediency. And they come and blaming Harris. Blaming Harris what? Blame themselves. And we must punish them tomorrow. We must punish Mark Brantley and the TCM. We must punish Sean Richards and Pam. Keep them out of parliament and ensure we bring back stability to this country. They have failed us, my straight talk family. They have failed us. And as I said before, I'll give you some excerpts from a short thesis written by E. Anthony Ross, QC. And it continued as I started earlier, my family. He looked at an examination of what happened in St. Kitts and Nevis and for a time Anguilla. And he strongly suggests that it was not party politics that was the driving force, but it was leadership politics. Mr. Bradshaw Ross continued, and his people followed by Dr. Simmons and his people, and then followed by Dr. Douglas and his people. Come 2013, Dr. Douglas and his Labour Party were isolated by all but one of the other political parties in the state. And their positions were documented in the National Unity Agreement of April 2013, which referenced the signing political parties as partners, and which partnership document by agreement and declaration that stated the leader of the partnership and prime ministerial candidate is and shall be the Honorable Dr. Timothy Harris. The National Unity Agreement was followed by the Charleston Accord of December 2014. The thrust of the parties to the Unity Agreement and the Charleston Accord was to get rid of the Douglas government, and that was accomplished in 2015. But unfortunately, continues the article, very little, if any, heed was paid to the documented commitments of those agreements. All that said, the unity government which succeeded the Douglas government not only survived substantial efforts toward early derailment, but from all accounts measured up so well to the expectations of the electorate that come 2020, when the members of the unity government accounted to the electorate for the first 5-year term and sought a new mandate with the specific and overwhelming endorsement of each and every member of the National Unity Agreement partnership groups. The electorate entrusted what by then had become known as Team Unity to another 5-year term, 2020 to 2025. What became an unfortunate reality was that the constitutional changes, including but not limited to sharing and entitlement as between St. Kitts and Nevis, was not addressed. And the terms of the 1983 Constitution, flawed as it is, or it has proven to be, remained the supreme law of the state and gave opportunity to naysayers to employ political spin, which distanced themselves from the real issues. Throughout the latter half of 2020, after a successful all-hands-on-deck campaign and election plan, driven and fueled by Dr. Harris, the praises of each and every member of the National Unity Agreement partnership groups continued, and the same could be said for 2021. In fact, January 2022 was no exception. And then what happened? And here is where I remind you of Sankofa, and that it is not wrong to go back for that which you have forgotten. Microscopic examination of Dr. Harris and his team that has been pejoratively referred to as his cabal must not be examined in isolation. And further, it must be recognized that the first 5-year mandate of Team Unity was unconditionally validated by each and every member of the National Unity Agreement partnership groups and their individual makeups. So then, recognizing the accolades of those same National Unity Agreement partnership groups and individuals from 2020 through January 2022, what can the leaders of the disrupting political parties advance to the electorate as valid reasons for the dissolution of Parliament and effectively overriding and vetoing the will of the electorate? I'm not certain if I'm still with ZIZ, my Street Dog family. Nonetheless, I go to the lines and say, caller, you are live. Hello, caller?
Yes, my brother. Brother Patches.
So?
Yes, let me just give a slight correction. Sankofa is a Kiswahili word that come out of East Africa. Certain parts in East Africa speak Swahili, like Ghana and other places. Not all countries. And it means that you have to return to the past in order to move forward. It's not out of West Africa, as you mentioned. You said Ghana. I don't know if you misspoke or what. But I'm Swahili or Swahili word. That means you got to return to the past in order to move forward.
Well, it is. I'm reading from an article, so I stand to be corrected nonetheless. And the article says
that article is wrong, my brother.
It said it's a word in the Twi language of Ghana, meaning to retrieve.
No,
Sankofa.
But
Okay.
I'm telling you, check it out for yourself. It's a Kiswahili or Swahili.
Okay.
That's a language that is spoken in East Africa. Not all East African countries, primarily like places like Ghana. Not Ghana, I'm saying Ghana. Kenya and those places. Okay? So it means to move forward. In order to move forward, you got to return to the past in order to move forward. That's what it means, beloved brother. Swahili or Kiswahili. Same thing. Some people say Swahili, some people say Kiswahili. Same thing, beloved brother. So the article...
No. Sorry, go ahead.
The article, I don't know where you get it from, but it was Swahili is not out of West Africa.
It was written by E. Anthony Ross, and he can defend that. And he said, and I quote here, Sankofa is often associated with the proverb, Sewawiri Fina Wasankofa Ayenki, which translates as, it is not wrong to go back for that which you have forgotten. And then he emphasized that last sentence, it is not wrong to go back for that which you have forgotten. But I take your point. I'm not going to dispute that.
Yeah,
I know that.
If Raskalunji is listening, Raskalunji, any other Pan-Africanist, I sure Brother Africa could call in and verify what I said, beloved.
That's fine. If Queen's Counsel Ross is listening, I would like him to actually call in as well and verify it. As I did read the article from him, which he approved. But your point is taken, and that is what Straight Talk is all about. Thanks for your input. We always welcome variants in views, and that's the only way we can learn my Straight Talk family. Let's go back to the lines. I think I've lost that caller. I am not. Are you there, caller? Are you there, caller?
Yeah, Patrick.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were.
Yeah, Patrick.
Yes, sir. I'm now saying.
Yeah, Patrick.
Yes, you're live, my dear brother.
Yeah, Patrick. Patrick, again. You hear me?
Yes, I'm hearing you loud and clear.
Yeah, Patrick. You believe if Sean had any respect for the supporters of Pam, especially the Star Wars supporters, them who support Pam and uplift Pam and always around the party. You think that you think they're gonna come? They will not gonna leave come. That is the amount of Star Wars supporters I see on the PLP train and to the PLP meetings and to the PLP rally. That is a shock. But you didn't cross the boy, I can't have anything cross there. I want to see some of these guys. That is like a whole man squeeze into them. I said, brother, you too? You understand? They have no respect to people. And when you got a political party, just like the same Labour Party, they have no respect for the supporters them, especially the down-to-earth supporters them. They left them on the west side. When they get in government, they treat them bad. I know a lot of people from the village, all that woman named Mova. Mova was a Star Wars for Pam. You family with the past the other day.
Yeah.
When she was a Star Wars for Pam. And you hear them to talk about again the illness of Pam. Over the people. They break up from the unity, right? They break up from the unity and have the respect and the others to come and tell people what's going on. Eh? You know what people live shadow? Shadow? What is anywhere about people complaining to me, by Reshando? When Reshando not the boy, Reshando, what is, listen to the people, young people, I will stop, look and listen. We're going forward with the PLP, nothing but the PLP. We never get away from the old traditional politics. Never get away from that, the traditional party. You say Pan failure, you say the Labour failure, never get away from that. Let me tell you something new. The NRP, with three women, the People's Labour Party, the PLP, with all new candidates. The senior one with Dr. Harris. And he got mobilized and send all of them. Send all of them around to work for you in your constituency when you all get elected. All eight people want it. Young people, that is your wonderful, let me God bless. But have a good night again. Good night, culture. Good night, dumpling. Good night, baby. Yeah, man, all in that Star Wars from,
Okay, thank you, my dear brother. Have yourself a good night as well. We go. Are you there, caller? You're live.
Hello, Patrick.
My dear brother, jump down. You have your radio.
Yeah, how are you, my brother? How are you?
Turn your radio down. Turn your radio down, brother. Turn your radio down now.
Look.
Turn your radio down.
Look. Yeah.
Turn your radio down.
Look the problem. The rejected Labour Party.
Jump down. Jump down. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Just turn your equipment down. I want the whole world to hear. Turn your radio down.
Look, we're touching.
That's much better. Thanks a lot, man.
Look, the problem, the rejected Labour Party are trying to done to this election and the country as a whole. Look what they're doing.
Where you know?
The first thing they do tonight.
Are you downtown?
Yeah.
What's
what they're doing is trying to mobilize their supporters down by the electoral office to cause confusion. They're sending one woman saying fire down there. I mean, look where we have come to. And I could tell you in a package, Timothy Harris will run this country. He better than all of them. And this country need a leader. The three rejected candidates from PAM, up and down, sending around all kind of things to people, trying to disarm the Prime Minister. It's all kind of badness. And the man could hurt them. As politics that people want something new, people ain't going back to them nonsense with Donald them. Look at that night. That is God bless you have come into the picture in government and giving you tongue of reform. We had a part and you tongue you had you project to do them and your treat ain't come to do because they was sabotaging the government. And I could tell them, this country is not run how they want it to run. We want a peaceful country, and we will get a peaceful country. You can imagine the nonsense going on down there, buddy. And Congress are desperate for power. up and down sending around all kind of thing. How the country, the government trying to take out documents. Nonsense, Patches. You can imagine? Oh, that's what is done then when the people building, traumatizing the workers. You understand? But police is doing a great job, and we calling on the police to keep everything safe. And when they fall out, they lock them up. Lock up them. Politicians, whoever, lock them up. The lies the law. This is Jam down here talking, Patches. If they said allow this country, they must do the right thing and done it the damn nonsense. Because they don't care what they do. The guy better than all of them. Timothy better than all of them. And the country need a leader. Nobody in the right senses gonna allow Sean them to get away with the nonsense they do to this country. Nobody in the right senses. All of them should be ashamed of themselves for what they do to this country. And they're going to pay for it. They have to pay for it. Have a good night, Patches.
Have a good night.
And they went to Greenland. During the process, so we have support and a petition, the born one and the low it. Man, a fake like them. Have a good night.
Have a good night, my dear.
This is Jam down here.
Yes, Jam down. Have a good night as well. Yes. And remember that all roads, my straight dog family, all roads lead to Greenlands for that major rally of the People's Labour Party tonight. I'll be wrapping up shortly, and I'm not certain if ZIZ is still with me, but we are heading to Greenlands as well when we leave here. Caller, are you there? Hello, caller? Are you there, caller? Okay, that caller seemed to have missed that call, but yes, we are heading to Greenlands for that final rally with the People's Labour Party. I saw a live broadcast as well from one Congress Maynard indicating that, seeming to indicate that there were issues at the electoral office. I got some also WhatsApp messages, but unless we can verify things are true, then we don't take that to the airwaves. We understand there from Jam Down, who said he was there, and it seems that everything is under control. But the Labour Party, beg your pardon, will get desperate. They've been desperate for a long time. Imagine, they're even being angry instead of being rejoicing. If they're winning the polls, then they rejoice. Don't get angry. I believe that's the stance you must take. And they talk about freedom. Freedom will come. There is freedom in St. Kitts. That's why they can march. There's freedom of association. That's why there's so many talk shows. There's freedom of expression. So what are they talking about freedom? More radio stations have popped up. More programs have popped up under Team Unity. No Prime Minister ever before took the criticism like Timothy Sylvester Harris, and he has stayed calm. And I admire Timothy Harris for that. I admire him because the silent one is usually one step ahead, because you never know what's on their mind. Caller, you are live. I want to thank you for holding.
Yes, Patrick. I'm going to go with the Bible. Somewhere in the Bible, I think it is Psalms. The Bible said, all men are liars, and anybody tell a lie is considered to be a liar. For all who've been on the radio telling lies, they are liars. Dr. Harris is a man of class, a man of dignity, a man of standard and stature. That there is no comparison with none of these in the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis. Neither Dr. Simmons, Douglas, Sean, nor Mark Brantley. None of them. The next man after Jesus, with respect, that the whole world loved, was Mr. Vance Emery. But God knows best where to take him. But he was under pressure. That is, Dr. Harris can walk with his head high, look left, look right. You don't have to look all the way back. Nobody can point the finger on him and say, see him there. He ain't get no money from Gaddafi in a paper bag. And Dr. Harris' children mother ain't nowhere hiding and can't come back to it. With $96 million of passport money. Dr. Harris didn't do that. Somebody else did it. And Dr. Harris then robbed the sugar workers of the money. And then the money went up to Bahamas. US money went up to Bahamas in a suitcase. And it's still up there. And no attorney general had to go up there for the carrier and bring him down. Dr. Harris did that. Somebody else did that. Who want to come back and say they want to lead and run country. Dr. Harris is a man of class. Dr. Harris sell the passport to Bragadam for $1 million and say he's a diplomat and then get caught in Canada. Dr. Harris ain't caused Canada to stop us from traveling to Canada visa free by hiding Arthur Porter and his wife in Nevis. Somebody else did that. Dr. Harris ain't had no double passport and said he ain't got it. Somebody else did that. Dr. Harris he ain't get caught in England, Gatwick Airport, with money that he should not be troubling with. And did not claim it on his declaration form. Dr. Harris is a clean, recorded man. His hands are clean, his heart is clean, and he stood the test. With all what I do, all the verbal language you throw after him, he stood the test and showed him he's a man. Anyway, I'm saying to everybody, tomorrow is a very important day. Let us move that news, that economical news. Let us move the news of the future of our children, grandchildren. If anybody make that mistake tomorrow and vote for anybody else except PLP, Dr. Harris and PLP, all of us gone underwater. We were underwater and Dr. Harris take us out. So when people like Janelle and Lindsay and Mark, what he named down the Sean Richard, and then Mr. Simmons coming talking about vote for Pam, and then Douglas and he cabled them saying vote for Labour. He ain't gonna die in a Labour Party. That is Douglas' selfish organization. Tomorrow is an important day, a very, very important. Vote for PLP. If you make any mistake and do not vote for PLP, you're going to regret. We're going to regret. Dr. Harris is the man who weathered the storm. Anything. Dr. Harris pulls through. Everybody asks him how he get that dough. Why are you going to put down somebody who's doing good to somebody who is doing bad? Don't do that. Vote for PLP tomorrow. Put your eggs in the box by the saw. PLP by the saw. Look for the saw. What the carpenter use. Passage. Have a good night. They can't stop us. They will try and look what they did 93 and other times when they had election. Patrick, have a good night. Thank you very much.
Have a good night as well, my dear brother. We go back to the lines and take this call. Call you live. Hello, caller.
Patrick, I'm going quick. Patrick, the man from number 3, right? He's a real upstarter. Somebody sent a clip here with me to him, but the electoral office, too, young the talking. He's a real upstarter. So he tried to come down here with Akin had a pop-up meeting. They had a meeting up on the basketball court. Came Douglas them, and after the meeting done, they come down with the supporters them. Come disturb the meeting. He's a real upstarter. He has no respect and he has no manners. Everybody see that how he went down in the House Assembly when he was there as a representative in Parliament when he got elected. And I believe that the people of number 3 will reject him again because he has no managerial behavior. And he doesn't have no to people. Tell some life to the people, and that's why they run him 2020. Okay, then, Patches.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. Yes, I very well believe that they will run him again. As I saw him behave in Parliament myself, and he was a disgrace. Real disgrace, Congress Maynard. And why are they trying to create confusion? Only God knows. Caller, you're live. Call you live.
Yes, sir. Mr. Liburd.
Yes, sir.
I'm not find out from you. Mr. General Powell and Mr. Lindsey Grant still have a chairman, a legal chairman?
If they have a legal chairman, Powell and Grant still exist. That's a statement of fact. The firm Powell and Grant, as far as I know, still exists.
Because for what over the head, do they have the right still to go to represent anybody in the justice court?
In the court? Well, they are still lawyers. They have not been debarred, as far as I know. They can still practice law.
But how long they going to take it before they could bar them from wearing gown?
Well, that question is beyond me. The Bar Association have been very quiet on their matters. I'm not certain if Garth Wilkin is still the president of the Bar Association. I've never heard any word uttered from the mouth of Garth Wilkin, if he still is the president of the Bar Association, as it relates to the conduct of Lindsey Grant and General Powell.
But these are the things that they're supposed to letting the nation know exactly that these two gentlemen, it be bad from doing whatever service for the people. Because look what over $460,000 from gentlemen from the United States and still into politics. They should be bad from entering politics.
Well, you can't bar them from entering politics unless they have a criminal record.
That's a criminal record. $460,000 as lawyers, they should be banned. That's a criminal record, Mr. Liburd.
Yeah, well, it's a criminal offense, but there's no criminal record because the matter was dealt. The judgment came now from a civil matter. But the criminal matter, I understand, is put back until November. So until that goes to the criminal court, then only civil. The information I read came from a claim made by the good gentleman Tanzal. What is his name again? Tanzal. I'm trying to get it. Was it? Forgive
but anyhow, is Mr. Ross in the QC?
Yes, he is.
Then he should be able to shed some kind of light and let us know what can be done to those gentlemen.
Well, that's fine. I don't know if he wants to do it, but the case, like I said, between Tanzania, Tobin Tanzil and Lindsey Grant and General Powell was a civil matter brought before Justice Ventos back then. And that ruling dated 27th of February 2020, I think it was. It went to the appeal, and it went to the High Court, the Court of Appeal, beg your pardon, and in June 2020, the Court of Appeal unanimously delivered its judgment back then.
Yeah, and again, I'm deeply hurt because of the way of Dr. Simmons performed his role as a Prime Minister. Look what he's doing to our living Governor General, who was then the Attorney General under his watch. And look how all the PAM activists have missed the season. They're not saying anything to the gentleman. They have him to be like a scapegoat or a traitor to them because of he's not doing his duty, and he's doing his duty and he's performing very well. And also to Mr. Byron, who is the Attorney General, look how they are abandoning those gentlemen without no possibility of respect. And they should be ashamed of themselves.
Okay, thank you, my brother.
I don't want to take up too long because I have to go up to Greenland tonight and hear my 5 minutes. I'm going on my knees and pray to the Lord to ask him to guide the people in this federation to put Dr. Douglas back into office, because there is a lot of dirty people in the thing is only pushing out the hand to get what they want. Look what they did to me with Dante. Sean shouldn't be even a prime minister in down Sunny Point. They bring a lady from down Washington University, which everybody knows about her character.
Okay.
She sent me home, going on the platform and said she don't care to turn away.
Okay, got you, my brother.
Conflict of interest.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, have a good night.
Have a good night, my dear brother. Thanks a lot for your input. We go straight back to the lines. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller. Are you there, caller?
Hello?
Yes, caller, you're live.
Are you speaking to me?
You are live.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we're hearing you loud and clear. You're live on Straight Up.
Yes. Yes, my name is Anthony Ross, and I just want to respond here to that good gentleman on this whole question of Sankofa. And I want to point out to him that, no, I am not stressing the origin of the word. I will tell him if he goes to the internet and he was to Google Sankofa origin, he will get, and I will read it, meaning of Sankofa. The word Sankofa comes from the Akan people of Ghana. It is an Akan term that literally means to go back and get it. One of the Adinkra symbols for Sankofa depicts a mythical bird flying forward with its head turned backward. Now, that's not what I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about the attacks on Dr. Harris by Dr. Simmons and by Dr. Esdale. And to put it into context and to point out that the first 5-year mandate had been completed and completed satisfactorily. And after that, another 5-year mandate was given by the people. And after 18 months, it was vetoed by 2 of the leaders of the parties who got into power on the strength and the effort of Dr. Harris. That was my point. Thank you.
But before you go, I almost said Dr. Ross, QC Ross. If I could entertain you for just 1 or 10 seconds. You mentioned the national hero or living national hero and his comments, and you also mentioned Dr. Esdale, who was a former English teacher of mine, and I myself was a little bit surprised having read his article. But in terms of the actions of the living national hero, there's a view in some quarters that some awards should be given posthumously. And does it justify that view based on his actions?
Well, I do not know that it. I do not know that it's a consideration. Mm-hmm. What has happened, and maybe it would serve to say that one will be cautious as you go forward, and that should not have been necessary, because my good friend Dr. Simmons, I anticipate, should have known better. He and I go back a long way. We were in grammar school together. He was in the upper classes when I was in the lower classes. And apart from the fact that he was unfortunately in Blue House and I was in Red House, we always got along. As a matter of fact, even if you check the history, you will recognize that way back in the 1970s, I was first recruited for politics by Paul Southwell. And I would have run for Labour, but for the fact that Paul Southwell died. After that, I was approached by Dr. Simmons. I worked with Pam and I ran for PAM in 1980. I campaigned with PAM up until 1995. After that, I was out of this kind of running until 2014, I think it was, when I endorsed Timothy Harris, Dr. Timothy Harris, and PLP. And that was very welcome at the time because it was part of the effort to isolate Douglas's government so that it could be replaced. And the question then is, all of these people who had these great things to say about this unity construct, where are they now? And why is it that they want to go ahead and try to go back into the history of Dr. Harris? It's almost as if you graduated from high school, you've gone into university, and after your first year, somebody wants to come back and talk about what you did in high school. The mandate that was given was fully satisfied. 2015 to 2020, fully satisfied, no questions asked, all kinds of accolades. What did you get? Another mandate. From whom? The people. Who owns the power? The people. And who decided to override the people? Those who are coming up with this strange statement. What was it? I do not actually remember the words that they use right now. It is in that article, I tell you. It was about dissolve, resolve or dissolve.
Resolve or dissolve. Okay, yeah.
I mean, how could they come out and say to the Prime Minister, resolve or dissolve? If they read the Constitution, they'll understand the power of the Prime Minister. So, as I say, you know, those who foolishly try to get power by riding the back of the tiger wind up inside. And after Saturday, when we look around, they will recognize that they were the ones who got out of line, and the people of St. Kitts and Nevis are going to punish them and say, we want our team to finish the mandate that was given to them. Sorry for going off into so many directions because I just wanted to address this question of Sankofa.
Not at all, not at all. I'm happy you did. So I'm going to ask you my final question. When you look at because you mentioned in your article, you stressed a lot on the leadership politics, if I can use that term. I think it's leadership politics. So when you look at the existing leadership in the country, Prime Minister Harris seemed to be head and shoulders above all of them. One has failed. I mean, he has let down the people by failing to go to cabinet. Sean Richards, Mark Brantley. I can't say much about Mark Brantley. He doesn't seem to know how to manage. Obviously, having run his economy in Nevis on the brinks of collapse. And one has no track record, and we know the record of Desmond Douglas. What would you say the country needs now in terms of the global uncertainty, right, and the future, which is so unpredictable?
The short answer is that you cannot argue with results. You cannot argue with results. Dr. Harris has demonstrated what he can do. And I am challenging anybody, apart from the I need your power thing, what has happened within the last 2 years which justifies trying to replace him? I believe that it goes back to the people. It is not for the leader of PAM or the leader of Labour or the leader of CCM to determine that they've got the capacity to override the mandate that was given by the people. Let them remember the motorcade after June 2020. Every one of them on the motorcade. Sean, every one of them. Harris again. Harris again. Harris again. And I am saying to you tonight as far as I'm concerned, let it be Harris again. Thank you.
Thank you very much, my dear brother. You gave me as what we call goose pimples because I was on that motorcade. And the motorcade passed through so many villages. Well, it went right around the island to be exact. And in every constituency, you went to Keon, they were not saying Hamilton. You went to Tabernacle, you know what they were saying. You went further down to Sadler's St. Paul's, they were saying Harris again. You went to Sandy Point, they were saying Harris again. You came up to Old Road, they were saying Harris again. And you came to West Bastia, they were saying Harris again. Right around the country in Central Bastia and in East Bastia, the whole country was saying Harris again. And I believe the country will say, as of tomorrow, Harris again. Let's go back to the lines. Caller, I want to thank Professor Ross for waiting and bringing those clarifications. Say, caller, I want to thank you for holding your line.
Good evening, Patrick. How are you doing this evening, sir?
I am peaceful, my dear brother. Yourself?
Good. I thought you said it wasn't coming, man. I just tuning in, man. I missed the whole thing, but I'll go on.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Not a problem, bro. Not a problem. Yeah. Let me the thing is it with that boy in Monkey, the boy, not Bass. Bass and his solid family. The other boy that says the doctor. Yeah. Have you heard anything on him? You know he was married to a relative man, and I haven't begun to tell you all the story, okay? What was thrown out, the way he treated her, okay? She writing around things saying, well, he's supporting a kid and all, a kid need a father there, okay? So that he's out of it. Douglas, he told Pricey, Southwell, that he's not going to come back, and this is 10 years ago. Pricey has gone on to the great beyond, and the same Douglas is still here. What kind of crap is this? Now, another thing. Do you know if Brantley was in Africa of all places, if he was in Rwanda, he'd be in jail for now, for creating tribalism. Brantley yesterday. This is where Simmons messed up sentence on Nevis. Okay? What he living in Rwanda, he'd be sitting in jail right now. Okay? For bringing up Hutu and Tutsi stuff. This is where he tried to put on thinkers on Nevis. And I know the people of Nevis going to reject him. Same thing for the people of Sandy Point. They don't want to look like the people in St. Paul, like immoral foolish people. They can't vote for Sean. How are they going to vote for Sean? They can't put Sean in here with all the things we done. It can't be. Sandy Pointers are not that stupid. They don't want to part him. And the thing is, I don't know if you will get to go down to Old Road and talk to Marchie. But I was there sometime before, not the last election, and Grant came begging Marchie and I said, give him a chance, Grant. And he has laid on the people, but no, you don't hear nothing about no Grant in Old Road. It's all PLP, all Harris. Go talk to Marchie. You know Marchie, son. Short Marchie, he passed away. But let me tell you, there's a lot of crap going on in thinking, and it cannot go on like this. This is a joke. Whether you just have a thing, and Simmons, he really Simmons, oh my God, what a shame. What a raw life. Simmons, you cannot trust Simmons, he's a traitor. Anyhow, Patrick, all the best to you guys tomorrow, and we know it's Harris again. Have a good one.
Yes, my brother, have a good one, and let your vote be counted tomorrow. It's very important, my dear brother. As we wind down tonight's programming, I'm going to take perhaps 2 more calls. They all can be guided by the rules of brevity. Caller, can you? Thank you very much, dear caller. That we do thank you, yes. And all roads now lead to Greenlands, because I must thank you for your indulgence tonight. I knew I said to you that I would not be here. I said that to you on Monday, but I considered it an imperative to speak with you on this program tonight as a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis, having been born on Newtown Bay Road in East Bastille, where I was raised, and I still live in East Bastille. Newtown in my early days was referred to as Fish Bay, as it was and still is a fishing village and a place in East Bastille where you can still get your choice fish, conch, and or lobster. Thanks to Zigbal, I haven't seen you for a while, my dear brother, but remember the stocks are going down. My grandfather, George Liburd, hailed from Nevis, was a government shipwright, and he built many boats, even sailboats. He built the fastest one. I was raised with my grandmother, and I said it was a good fortune, because my grandmother taught me how to cook, wash, and iron. She loved politics. I always had variance with her view that Bradshaw gave her shoes. But I found out that every black man in this country was labor, except one black man called Happy Puppy. Many ask what it is. Do your homework. But Mama loved her politics. But back then, we had one Labour Party we can call the Bradshaw Labour Party. But on the eve of this most important election in our history, there are now two Labour parties. The Douglas Labour Party, led by Dr. Terence Drew, and the People's Labour Party, led by the indomitable, tried and tested Dr. Timothy Harris. PAM is of no moment. As all the polls suggested, that tomorrow will be a straight fight between Orange Labour and Red Labour. And from what I've heard you say tonight, my Straight Talk family, then Orange Labour will be victorious. PAM has become desperate, and we have all concluded that their former leader and former prime minister and our only living national hero, Kennedy Alphonse Simmons, is an angry man for many reasons. But let's leave him behind us. The many Pamites who have left, he have asked to come back home. And when I heard Simmons cite the tenets of good governance, speaking about integrity and accountability in our government, my people, the concept of good governance was developed by the World Bank, and it is essentially a touchstone, a benchmark, the criterion, a yardstick by which the prevailing administrative structure of any given country can be measured. How could Simmons talk about good governance, yet ignore the impropriety of his PAM representatives' corruption under Sean Richards, speaking about the UDC, Skellig? He built an ark for Noah, but we don't have much time for that, my Straight Dog family. How could he not talk about Lindsey Grant and John L. Powell? Double standards. Kennedy Alphonse Simmons, a shame on you. Because the court accepted that John L. Powell and Lindsey Grant were in breach of trust and of their fiduciary duties to the claimant, Tanzania Tobin Tanzil, because they misappropriated $460,000 US belonging to Tanzania Tobil Tanzil. How could Dr. Simmons overlook that? How could he? Then he has double standards, I say. But we're going to leave Pam behind us. They're so desperate, Lindsey Grant and Jonathan Powell went to the courts today and tried to remove 1,000 names from the list. I understand just over 20 names were removed of the 1,000 they objected to. Why have Pam become so desperate? So tomorrow we must teach them a lesson, my straight dog family. My message to you tonight is to stay focused. Let your vote be counted. Remember the global uncertainty that looms large around us. Who do you trust? We cannot go back to the Douglas Labour Party. We go back to the high debt, crime and violence. How could we? Dr. Harris put his career on the line, his political career on the line for all of us. How could we forget this, my straight dog family?
And gave their lands away in the notorious land for debt swap deal. I stood up against this in Parliament and placed my political career on the line in order to protect and defend our people's right to their patrimony. Today, our lands have been bought back from the land for debt swap arrangement and are now in the hands of the people.
So how could we go back to that? How could we go back to that, my straight dog family? Who do you trust? We can look at the performance, we can look at the stewardship of Timothy Sylvester Harris. They had a chance. The old parties had a chance, Douglas Labour Party and PAM. Look at what PAM did in East Bassett Hill. Look at what they did. For 22 years, 22 successive years and 5 successive elections, PAM never won a seat in East Bassett Hill. Then they called me Labour. And yes, if I was Labour, and I am Labour, I am supporting the People's Labour Party. So if I am Labour, I am proud that it took a Labour man to win a seat for the People's Action Movement in East Bastille after 22 successive years and 5 successive elections. And I don't want to be boastful, but I have to make that clear. They had a chance. They had a chance to change the Constitution between 2020 and 2025. They chose to abandon 3 years of a second mandate that was given by the people. And we must punish Sean Richards and his PAM team, also Mark Brantley and his CCM team. We must punish them when we go to the polls tomorrow. Let your vote be counted. PLP deserves a chance. The best time ever in our political history was between 2015 and 2020, under the leadership of Timothy Sylvester Harris. I was there. Look at the infrastructure development, our roads, all around the island. Old Road Bay. People died across Old Road Bay. Look at the transformation. Imagine Lindsey Grant tried to stop Old Road Bay and talking about he's going to be building some underwater hotel in Old Road, and Old Road Bay was part of that. What nonsense they are talking. Lindsey Grant, Mark Brantley, and Jonathan Powell tried to give away the Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw International Airport under the guise that they are going to put some international hub. You remember that hub went to Nevis? Where is it today? Mark Brantley, Lindsey Grant, Jonel Powell, Shaw Richards must be punished tomorrow. My family, my people. Under the leadership of Timothy Sylvester Harris, we built a second cruise spear that Labour couldn't build in 20 years. Housing. So Mark and Sean and Simmons, who defended the actions and mashing up our country, they must be punished. My family, as it was written, within the next 24 hours, the voters in St. Kitts and Nevis will have made their statements. Let your vote be counted. A vote for PLP is to ensure the continuation and increase in PAP. A vote for PLP will ensure that your repairs continue along. A vote for PLP would ensure stability in the country. Renewable energy, solar energy is being introduced. A vote for PLP would ensure the continuation of the rehabilitation of the J.N. France General Hospital, the continuation of the Bastille High School, and the list goes on. I say to you tonight, my country, my people, do not take any chances whatsoever. This is not the time for risks. Go to the polls tomorrow and remember, let your vote be counted. I like this quote that was advanced by Lorna Callender. In her article, it is how you make the voters feel. And the quote from Mayor Angelo reads, I have learned that people will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel. Go to the polls tomorrow, my people. Forget the distraction. Let your vote be counted. That's my story for tonight, and I am not going to change it. But my time is done and I've got to run. We are heading to the Greenlands Park for the final rally of the People's Labour Party. When we leave there, on our way to the polls, we will say, Harris again, PLP, vote for the SAW. I am Ian Patrick Liburd, and God's willing, I'll come to you on Monday for another edition of Straight Talk. Let's celebrate for this weekend coming. Let us go to God in prayers, remembering that He is the absolute judge, and promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south, but it comes from the absolute judge who puts down one and sets up another. We pray that God will sustain Prime Minister Harris and his team of PLP candidates tomorrow. Vote for the SAW. Remember, whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. And my family, all you got to do is to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Monday, let your vote be counted.
When I wake in the morning, I thank God for the morning light. Give Him thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night. For the rest of food and loving care, and for my mother's breath of life that's got me here. So whatever my mind conceive, that I will achieve. You better believe the Lord I kneel and pray. My heart and soul beg him to take me through each day. My guardian to keep